everybody. Welcome to Toad TV. I am Mary Beth.
I'm Helen.
We are the creative hands and minds behind Toad Hollow, where we dye yarn and make project bags. And you can find us all over as Toad Hollow, mostly Instagram and our website, Toad Hollow NJ. And actually, you can find us as Toad Hollow NJ, not Toad Hollow, because if you look up Toad Hollow, there's a winery. It's really hot and my brain doesn't work.
This is the second time we've done it. I'm not allowed to look at her. She thinks I'm looking at her like a half-wit, but she's speaking in tongues.
So watch out, because I was going to call my dragon because I found the village idiot. Oh my god. Anyway.
Okay, we're having a bit of a morning.
Yes, we are. We went to visit my mom yesterday in Montclair.
Which is trauma enough.
The proverbial Friday night dinner, if anybody watches Gilmore Girls. And we knew it was supposed to rain, but we didn't figure it was going to rain quite as heavily as it did. Anyway, as I was saying.
Drove down in the rain.
Drove down in the rain. When, by the time we hit the island, the main boulevard was completely flooded. And by the time we realized this, we were in the middle of a huge puddle, so there was no going back. So we had to go forward, and we made it. And the car was fine, it was doing fine. And then this morning when we went out to try and start it, because we thought it might be a good idea to try and start it, there is nothing. There is, the lights went on inside.
And it beeped because the door was open with the keys in the ignition.
So we got the warning things, but yeah, the car won't start.
So we talked to the car mechanic, and he's like, you know, you try jump starting your battery, your starter could be wet, it could be hydro lock, which means you have to replace your engine, which is joy. Yay. And there was nothing we could have done. I mean, it was such torrential rain. Pitch black. I couldn't see through the rain.
No, it was crazy.
All of a sudden, we're like, you get on the island, it's like, oh, look, there's a cop car blocking the road, because the road's so flooded, so they sent us down a less flooded road. I mean, the good news was the tires never left the road, but it was touch and go a couple times.
Yeah, no, it was a crazy ride.
But it's actually good. So,
anyway, it was late, and
there was no place to go. How does she get under yours? Is yours higher?
I don't think so, and she's been under there.
I know.
It's bothering me. Oh my god. This is going to be so choppy. I apologize profusely. It's really been it's been a morning.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have, we are going to try and jumpstart the car. We got a generator to use at shows that is also used for jumpstarting your car, so we are going to try that. We're letting it charge now. We have never used it, so if you hear a dull explosion from Long Beach Island, just say a quick prayer.
Yeah.
And
somebody come and get my dogs.
Somebody please come take care of the dogs. But anyway, we're going to try and jumpstart it, and then if that doesn't work, the car dealership said that they could take a look at it on Tuesday because they're severely undermanned and they can't do anything before then.
Oh, and it's Friday, so getting on and off the island is going to be a chore if we have to do it.
I'm hoping
and we have to do it. I mean, if the car doesn't start, then we have to go because we have to rent a car for the weekend.
Yeah, but then hopefully it's Enterprise will come and get us.
Oh yeah, it's just there's
hassle.
the day.
A hassle.
And if we have to replace our engine,
we're not even going there.
Come by yarn.
Yes.
Please.
All right.
Anyway,
let's talk about happier things.
That's our trauma.
That's you know, we thought we're going to talk knitting and books, and it's going to be a nice, easy podcast, and it's going to be fun. And then last night happened, and even last night it was fine. It was just this morning, and
yeah.
Knowing that your car doesn't start, it's just like, oh my god. And I love this car so much. I don't get attached to cars, but I love this car.
Well, we have no option. There's a loan on the car, so the car's getting fixed.
Okay.
Drew's under.
All right.
I think the dogs are settled. Let's go, quick.
Right, okay.
There's Madman stuff.
Yes.
We have a prize to give away. Prize to announce for a giveaway that we promise we're actually going to follow through on this time.
I already have it listed.
I know, and people have commented, yeah.
Already up. So that's up there. All right, so let's start with that. We had seen, I think we showed this one of the other ones, and then totally forgot to put up.
A month ago, practically, because I think this is June's knit crate.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Okay, so June knit crate. You get 2 skeins of this lovely orange creamsicle yarn. You get the box, the book of patterns that have shawls, cowls, and socks in it. So you get all of this. There's a thread on Ravelry that is, what is your favorite place to visit, or your favorite summer vacation spot?
Yeah.
And not just the beach, you have to be more specific. We want to know where you go because we want places to go.
Yeah.
So there is that. Then we have started going through our stash of yarn, and we are going to start doing giveaways using some of our yarn that we are never going to get a chance to knit. So one of them is, again, from Knit Crate. This is Audine Wool's Halo DK. The colorway is Blush. It is 50% alpaca, 30% merino, and 20% nylon. DK weight 236 yards. So that would make a lovely
It's
hat.
super squishy soft.
Or a,
Work as color work for a sweater.
it's really, really squishy
Yeah.
and nice and soft because it's got alpaca and merino wool. Superwash. No, not
So-
superwash. Just merino.
Come and answer the question on Ravelry, and we'll pick 2 winners next time.
Okay, so same question. Where's your favorite place to go on summer vacation? We'll pick 2 different prize people, and one will get this, and one will get
The creamsicle.
the creamsicle. So there is that. Then we have on our Tri-Wizarding tournament, we announced the 3 winners that we picked randomly from the finished threads. They have all gotten in touch with us. Your prizes are on their way, so you guys are all getting, that's all coming to you. We had been gifted a pattern for the Mr. and Mrs. Couples hat, and unfortunately I let it go too long and the coupon expired, so I got in touch with the guy who knits, Andrew Epperson, who is the designer, and he reissued the code. He also has put in a 20% discount for anybody who wants to get it, so that if you want to get it on your own, you can. You just have to look on Ravelry under Andrew Epperson because he's kind of hard to find. And then the code is...
And we'll put it all in the show notes too.
Drusilla, I need you to stop adding in because they can't understand Drusilla speak. Okay, the code is TryWizHollow, which we will put underneath, but if you want to get 20% off. And it's a pattern.
It's his first pattern, so he's a fledgling designer, so it'd be great to go and support him.
Right, and it's the Mr. and Mrs. Couples hat. So we have, for our prize, we have...
So this is being pulled from we've started the second challenge, because this is our first knitting since
Right.
the second challenge started. And it's a pair of socks. It's the Hermione's Half-Blood Prince socks. So,
which we are going to talk about in just a minute because
Right.
we're both doing them.
Right. So we've picked from that whip thread.
Right.
And the winner was...
Pam Henley.
Yes.
And you get a copy. We're going to send you the gift code to get the copy of the pattern. You get 2 skeins of yarn. One is, hold this please, Malabrigo worsted pure merino wool, kettle dried. That's this one.
Kettle dyed.
Kettle dyed, look at that. Pure merino wool. And then this one, we thought these 2 would make a really good contrast for the couple's hat. This one is Barocco
Wool alpaca.
Ultra Alpaca, and it's 50 alpaca, 50% wool. So it's a 50-50 alpaca wool blend, and then you get the Malabrigo kettle dyed. So these 2 together with the pattern with a pom-pom to go on top.
Right.
Okay? So,
And surprisingly enough,
Pam Henley, we know your address.
we have your address, so we'll ship it up.
We will send this out to you. So expect a lovely package in the mail.
Yep.
All right. And next time we do a knitting podcast, we will pick another prize from the whip thread for something else because we've got lots of good prizes to give away. All right. Shall we start with those since we're talking about it?
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody who finished the first challenge,
Congratulations.
yeah, good on you. You guys did a very nice job. And it's right there. Do you want to hold it up?
No, I showed it.
Okay, so the first challenge was the cowl, the as one fairy to another cowl. And then the second challenge is knitting a pair of socks within the month of July. And I cannot believe that some of you are already finished and some are even starting on their second pair.
I mean, some people finish within like 3 days.
I'm
going to be amazed if I get a pair of socks done in a month.
I don't know. I think I have a fairly good chance of doing it.
Oh, I do too, where I am, because I'm making myself do it. But, I mean, generally, socks are just like, oh, I'll throw in a couple rows.
Right.
So, the challenge is the Hermione's Half-Blood Prince socks. They are a free pattern on Ravelry by...
Do we have a by? Showing something.
Who doesn't put their name on the pattern?
Okay, hold on. Please pause for
Tracy Hollis.
There you go. Look at that.
So, pattern is by Tracy Hollis, Hermione's Half-Blood Prince socks.
I am actually
it's a really fun pattern.
Really enjoying knitting this.
As opposed to the first one, which was a challenge. This one's a challenge, but it's fun.
And besides, I have heard so many people say that they are just really enjoying it.
Knitting. It's a fun pattern to knit.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's the process, sometimes it's the product. The first one was the product.
First one was a headache, and I threw it away. All right, I am knitting mine out of Moonstone. I put mine in 2 separate 50-gram balls, and then I do 2 at a time. Sure.
On the same needle.
On the same needle. Which are now wrapped around my pins. But here we go. This is where I am so far. I am about a third of the way through my 4th cable round, and that actually is the cuff there. So I'm going to do 4 cable twists, and then I'm going to start doing my heel. I have been following the pattern very diligently, so I don't know whether I'm going to do her heel or not, or whether I'm going to do the 2 at a time garter heel. I'm not sure. I may just do hers just to do it.
So drop turn and read the thread, because there was a mistake in the pattern.
Okay.
And people corrected it. So if you are doing it and you're going to do the heel flap and gusset that she's got, just if you go to our Ravelry thread, I know a couple people put in what they did.
Okay.
I think it's a fairly easy fix. You know, it's just a typo and it's like, oh yeah, no, this should be.
Okay.
Obviously, but just in case it's like your first heel, make sure you just go to the Ravelry thread.
Okay. So those are mine so far. I have probably 8 or 9 more rows, and then I start my heel. I'm really kind of excited about that because I love the way they're knitting up. I think they're gorgeous.
The
really
yarn
gorgeous.
is really gorgeous.
So Helen dyed it. She did a beautiful job.
I did. I am knitting mine out of herbology class, which is also gorgeous. And they're knitting up so nicely. These are mine.
I think yours are showing the cable better than mine.
Get the threads out of the way. We'll do it this way. Okay. So I have done my 4 pattern repeats, and I am ready to start my heels, and I am going to do the 2 at a time garter heel. I love how this yarn is knitting up. It's why I chose it, because I wanted to see how it was going to knit up. I just think it's so pretty.
It is. It's beautiful.
Perfect for socks. I am knitting mine on size 1 Chagoos, US 1. They look
64 stitch.
64 stitches. They look really narrow, but I tried it on, and it fit. So
okay.
I mean, it went over my foot. So
I'm doing mine on size 2s.
I used to do 2s, but then my socks got too loose after one wear.
I kind of like the slouchy look, so that I don't mind that it slouches
well,
down.
that's what it's my foot. It comes right off my foot.
I always have shoes on, so for me that's not an issue.
So I went down to a size 1, and I have knit on a size 1 before. My last pair of socks was on a 1, and they fit fine, but they look much bigger. And I'm just hoping it's the cable.
I really think it is.
But the cuff really looked very narrow too. So we shall see. These maybe can turn into a gift.
Mine are,
I will have to try them on before I knit for my giant foot.
mine are stretchy.
So that if I am going to give them away. Yeah, they are sort of stretchy.
Yeah, mine are stretchy.
Yeah, so we'll see.
It's cool. I love them.
It's a really fun pattern. The challenge goes through the end of July, so if you haven't joined us yet and you think you would like to, you've got plenty of time.
Besides,
People finish them in 3 days.
yeah, and you get points for starting.
Right.
You get points for finishing, but you get points for starting. So, hey, and we're picking random prizes throughout.
Yeah.
So it's not even the number of points that,
And if you use our yarn, you get points, and
yeah.
you know,
We're giving away
if
points
it's a day that ends
willy-nilly.
in Y, we might give you extra points.
Right.
So come join us.
Yeah. So Crafty Toads on Ravelry, and look for the Try Wizarding Tournament Challenge 2. And not the finished thread. The Challenge 2
Right.
whips, because there is a finished thread up there, because as we said, there are overachievers who have already finished. All right. My next project that I have been working on is my Brunswick tee. We are also doing a knit along with the Brunswick tee sweater. And I have been working very diligently on mine. This is by Olive Knits, who is also Marie Green. And as I say each time, is that I'm losing all my pieces, but just imagine her without her jean jacket. And that is the sweater.
It's a short sleeve.
It's a short sleeve baby doll sweater, and I have gotten to the point where I have added in my second color. I actually yesterday cut off my first color because I finished using it and I am only on the second color. So my
It is starting to
colors
show more.
are,
Wow, you've got a lot done.
this is Lucy, that's my main color, and this is Acorn, that's my secondary color. So those are my two colors. As you can imagine, my color work does not pop very much. It's more of a faded into, you know, blendy.
But I think it's going to show.
All right, so this is where I am right now. Okay. So that's how far I've come. Here's my giant increase that you can see. All right, so here is my color work. So you can see it a little bit, and it will show up more once I have,
Yeah.
I'm on to just the green.
Kind of see the green. So.
And it's going to definitely show up more.
Yeah.
Here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it holding it by the needles rather than by...
Are you going to put it on?
No. Right, so there, see, you can really kind of see it that way. It's just upside down.
Yeah.
But I have to do, I think, 2 more inches in the green. So there's going to be quite a bit of green down there. So you'll see it then. And then it's just a matter of doing little cap sleeves with a row of green around the edge and doing the color, and I will be finished. So it's moving right along. I'm very excited about it. Once I started adding the color, the second color, then I really started whipping through it, because you're like, oh, there's so much good. So much fun.
So now you did the short rows, because I know some people have opted not to do the short rows.
Okay, yes, I did do the short rows. And I watched the video that she provided. Okay, so Spike and Drew just had a conversation with the dog across the street. It's Friday and everybody's down, and they just had an extended conversation with the dog across the street, and
Told him to go home.
yeah, you don't want to be here. Anyway, so here it is. So I did do the short rows in the back. Can you hold up that side, please? Okay, so if I pull this down, hold it up tight. Okay, there you go. It's about 1 inch longer in the back than it is in the front. I had never done Japanese short rows before, and I found it very easy to do once I watched the video and read through the instructions of what she wanted you to do. I was talking about using the light bulb
Yep, right.
clip thing, the light bulb stitch marker, and I did it on this. Basically what you do is you figure out where your wrap and turn is going to be, and instead of doing a wrap and turn, you put your marker onto the thread, the yarn, and then you hold it up against your work as you knit, and it marks your spot for you, so that when you get back there, you use that to pull up the thread and make an extra stitch and knit that plus the next stitch together.
Okay.
So that the thing about it is
You don't have any of the gaps.
there are no gaps. Here, okay, so here along, you can see.
Okay, I see.
Okay, so you can see where my short rows
So,
are.
like, see how it goes up
Okay,
here?
but the only way you can see it is because I used variegated yarn, and there are no gaps there.
Right.
So the way she's got it is, it's a beautiful short row that just, there's nothing there to show you.
And just a
that it
matter
doesn't.
of looking, following the video and that kind of thing.
Yes,
Okay.
it was very, very simple.
Okay.
Now, with the way I am shaped, I want it a little bit longer in the back.
Yeah.
If you are boyish shape, you know, straight up and down,
Right.
you might not need the extra inch in the back, in which case don't do it. You know, this is just to give you a little bit longer in the back because sometimes you want a little bit longer.
Yeah,
covering
it's
your
just,
butt
and
a
it
little
just,
bit.
I mean, it's a matter of preference, but it's a trait
Right.
of the sweater and that kind of thing. So.
Right, and it's just a little bit of extra coverage in the back. Okay, so for me, having a curve in the back, shall we say, I want a little bit of extra, so that's why I put it in. So this is where I am so far.
Plus now you get to Japanese short rows.
Check. Right, and it's a great thing to know how to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was a wonderful. I found it relatively easy to do once I did the first one. There's just a little thing about when, because you're going back and forth, so you're knitting one side, purling the other side, and when you're going back on the purl side, you switch the stitches around so that you put, you slip a stitch off your left needle onto your right needle, pull the thread up to make the secondary stitch, and then slide the slip stitch back.
Oh, okay.
Because if you did it the way you do it on the knit side, where you take the made stitch and the second stitch and knit them together, it would come through as a purl stitch.
Gotcha.
So that she's given you the way that you're hiding that purl
Okay.
bump.
Okay.
It's very, very interesting. I love it. I love my sweater. I love the way Lucy is knitting up. I think the green at the bottom is just going to be gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I'm just totally in love with the sweater. I really am. I can't wait to finish it. However, with the weather that we're having right now, I really don't want it anywhere near me as far as wearing it, but that
Or
will break.
even knitting it.
With knitting it wasn't too bad. Knitting hasn't been too bad. I usually do it.
No,
That's my
it's
morning
just-
knitting.
It's
And it really hasn't been too bad.
if you have the fan going on.
Yeah.
yes.
Excuse me,
I
fire
have
and wool
barely
in my mouth.
worked on my Brunswick, so I'm not showing it because there's really nothing to see. I measured it. There's a period of, once you do the big increase, 6 inches of stockinette, and I'm about 4 inches in.
Oh, all right. So you're coming along.
I'm coming along. I got a lot done yesterday in the car, pre-rain, and also while we were talking. So 2 inches left.
Piece of cake.
Yeah, and then I jump into short rows and then color. So
Yeah.
you will be done before me, but I may be done by Novelli.
You probably, because I haven't really been working on my Novelli at all.
So I have been working on my Novelli, and that is by Caitlin Hunter, who is Boylan Knitworks. And that is the Novelli. And this is my impressionist watercolor version of the Novelli. So last time, this is about where I was. I had just split for the back. So this is my color work, which is not as pronounced as some,
But
but
beautiful.
it all blends in.
Love the green and yellow together. I love it.
Ready? There's my back. So I am about 7.5 inches in on the back, and I need 10. And then I
Okay.
get to turn around and do it all over again for the front.
That is gorgeous.
Yes.
So this is
That's Crookshanks.
Crookshanks.
The
There we go.
green is Acorn, and then the yellow is ROUS. And I love it. I love how everything blends together.
I really love the green coming up into Crookshanks.
Yeah.
I think that's gorgeous.
So you can see just like right here, the green.
Very soft.
Yeah. If you want to knit a novelli and you want the more pronounced cutout of the color work, I strongly suggest use not just a tonal, but you use solid colors. And that are very, that
different.
contrast each other.
Yeah.
So I love mine, but if you want the thing, just don't use a variegated. And I wasn't sure how I felt about the variegated as the top color when I first started, but now that I've got a whole bunch of it, I love it.
So do I. I really love it.
It's kind of like a tiger.
Yes.
So another 2.5 inches.
A tiger wearing a belt of green and gold.
Yeah. It's a very fashionable tiger.
Well, no, he's wearing a belt of flowers.
And then I get to do the front. So there we go.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of knit and purls.
Knit and purl.
Because you're no longer in the round. So it's you knit across, which takes me about 3 seconds, and then you purl across, which takes me about 10 minutes. So
you do it back and forth.
But every morning, before it gets too hot, I get probably 5 or 6 rows done. So slowly but surely.
Right.
People were asking us on Instagram. We were talking about we do not have air conditioning, so.
Oh yeah. Just like
we work with
glowing
fans and sea breeze and that kind of thing. So.
Yeah, somebody left a comment about how her mother is in Ocean City, Maryland, and she doesn't
have air conditioning.
No air conditioning because it's such a lovely day outside and it's the sea breeze, and her reaction is pretty much the same as mine. It's hot. There is no ocean breeze inside. Okay, just saying. There may be an ocean breeze at the ocean, but
I gotta tell you, it's still New Jersey and it's still humid.
Yeah.
As I'm sure you have been watching my hair curl as we go along.
All right.
So that is the state of the knitting.
State of the knitting, right. We have also been doing cross stitch, which we will do next week on our cross stitch, our floss tube. And we will be talking about that because there's some issues with that. But
there's a bit of a plot twist there. So.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk books, shall we?
Okay.
Took care of the admin, took care of the car, took care of the knitting. Let's talk about the good stuff.
Okay, so last week we released on our channel our discussion of The Lost Girls of Paris, which was our last book club that we did with the shop, where there was yarn to go with it and everything. And we got a lot of questions from people asking us to let them know what we're doing next, so that people want to have a chance to read the book and have it ready to go before. So we have picked our next
3, I think?
3, yeah. So the next one is most definitely Where the Crawdad Sings. That'll be in about a week.
Right.
Then we are doing Daisy Jones in the 6th. And what was the 3rd?
I'm pretty sure it's Stations 11.
Oh, okay. And the 3rd is Stations 11. So it's Where the Crawdad Sings by Delia Owens, Daisy Jones in the 6th by Taylor Jenkins Reid.
Right.
Stations 11 by Elizabeth St. John.
Yes.
Montgomery or something?
Something like that.
We will link them all in the show notes. So next week will be Where the Crawdad Sings, and again, what we generally do is we do a quick synopsis, then we'll put up a spoiler.
We say spoiler,
thread, and
spoiler, and then
we do a little song and dance, and then we will spoil the book. So you have the option of pausing if you haven't read it,
quickly reading the book, and then coming back and watching the end.
And Where the Crawdad Sings, in particular. Daisy Jones, there's not so much of a spoiler, but Where the Crawdad Sings, there's
Where the Crawdad Sings, it should be you go into it cold.
Right.
You know nothing about it, other than like maybe the blurb on the back, but that is it.
Yeah.
Know nothing. Read the book. It's amazing.
It's a wonderful book. Read it. Have it read to you. I've heard that the audio is great. We both read it. But I am not adverse to taking one of my Audible credits and.
It's an amazing book. All right, we also got a couple of questions as to what our next book club book is going to be.
Yes.
So we have chosen to do The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, also by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I have been watching booktubers talk about this book. Somebody just read it in an entire weekend. She read the entire book in one weekend. And everything I have heard said about it, it is an aging starlet who talks about her life by way of her 7 husbands that she's had over her life, and it talks about Hollywood in the old days coming forward.
Okay.
So that it's amazing. It's
Yeah,
all about
I've
old
heard.
Hollywood and that sort of thing. We are going to be listening to it on Audible. So, also Daisy Jones and the Six. If you are going to do that, I think it's a very, very good read, but we had such a wonderful time listening to it. It has a full cast. We've mentioned this before. So if you want to do that as an Audible book, that is a very good one to do.
Yeah, Where the Crawdad Sings and Daisy Jones, if you're a library user, you will more than likely be on a very long wait list. Stations 11 is a couple years old, so that you can probably get that one right away.
Yeah. Mandel. So. Emily St. John Mandel.
Okay.
Pretty sure that's her name. Anyway, so yes, those are the books that we have coming up booktube-wise, and also we have not started the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because we're doing another book we're doing next year in Havana.
Yes.
Which is very, very good.
So that will probably, that's not going to be a release yarn-wise or anything until August.
Right.
So
yeah, that's
coming.
That's in the future.
But it's just so you know. So if you want to put a hold on it or whatever, you can start putting your holds on it. And
if you happen to have it and you want to get a head start on it, that's what we're going to be doing for the next book.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Helen suggested that since we're halfway through the year and we've had some really good books this year that we've been listening to and reading and that sort of thing, that we each pick our top 3 and talk about them.
Yes.
Not in depth or anything like that. This is just
top 3 books of the year. Yep.
All right.
Number 3.
Since Helen picked 2 of mine, I am overlapping on one of them, but I picked 2 others. All right. So my number 3 book of the year is...
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, 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 dun. Sorry, I have to find my little blurb. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. My number 3 book of the year is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. So,
That would
I'm sorry. That is not.
I was going to say, that would have made my list, but I read it
I read it in 2018. That doesn't count. Okay, so my number 3 book...
For reals this time.
Is The Alice Network by Kate Quinn. This is a book about 2 women, a female spy recruited to the real-life Alice Network in France during World War I, and an unconventional American socialite searching for her cousin in 1947 after the Second World War. Charlie is the girl in 1947. She is trying to find her cousin Rose, who disappeared during the war, and she enlists the help of Eve Gardner, who was one of the spies under the Alice Network during World War I. It is kind of similar to The Lost Girls of Paris. I think it's better.
Yeah.
I think Kate Quinn did an amazing job. You don't love the characters, but you feel so much for them.
Okay.
You really get invested in them and in their stories and in what happened to them. Especially the Alice Network during World War I. What these women did was amazing.
Yeah.
So, and what they had to go through for it was, it's really, really, really well done. So I like that one very much. So that is my number 3. You have not read that yet.
I was going to say that is in my to-be-read pile.
Yeah, we got a copy of it at BookCon.
Yeah.
Because we saw it there and I'm like, oh, well, you haven't read this yet. And I read it over several weeks because I was waiting in the library list, and I would get it for 7 days and get a certain amount of pages done, and then have to wait another 3 weeks to get it back again.
Well, I mean, it's a good enough book that you waited and you found your place and everything. Because sometimes when you put something aside for 3 weeks, it's like, oh,
right,
what is this book about?
Right.
So,
all right, number 3.
Number 3 for me is Eleanor Oliphant. It is completely fine. We have discussed this book almost ad nauseum.
We have not. It's a great book.
It is. It's a great book. We have talked about it a lot, so I will not go into great detail about it. We have a whole booktube on it. But
okay, this is symptom of the day. Drew has just spent the last 5 minutes barking, so we finally got her quiet, and Helen just opened her mouth to start talking.
And the camera ran out.
And the camera died.
Yay. Okay, go ahead. Anyway, Eleanor Oliphant, it took me a little bit to get into, to think, do I really want to read this, like this? And then it was just all in. I loved it. So, so much so, it was one of the first entries into our 5-star read collection.
Yep.
That's Mary Beth, our lovely assistant, is holding up our Eleanor Oliphant yarn.
Okay,
So,
the reason we don't have one for the Alice Network is because we both have to vote it in as a 5-star read, and Helen hasn't read it yet.
Right.
All right, number 2. My number 2 is Alice by Christina Henry, and I loved this book so much. In a warren of crumbling buildings called the Old City, a hospital echoes with the screams of the poor souls inside. Inside there is a woman. Her hair, once blonde, hangs in tangles down her back. She doesn't remember why she's in such a terrible place. Just a tea party long ago and long ears and blood. And then one night, a fire at the hospital gives the woman a chance to escape, leaving her free to uncover the truth about what happened to her all those years ago. This is a retelling of Alice in Wonderland, a very broad retelling, a kind of, hey, we're going to take these characters and put them into my own warped little world and do it that way.
and totally ruin Alice in Wonderland.
No, you don't.
No, you don't. If you,
It doesn't.
But if you are an Alice in Wonderland purist, this is not for you.
However, it is a wonderful standalone book.
Mm-hmm.
There are just characters in there that are named after characters from Alice in Wonderland. I thought it was my first introduction to Christina Henry, and I am all in. I have already read The Red Queen. I finished The Lost Boy. I'm ready to start The Mermaid. Helen was just reading me a blurb, and I'm like, oh, that's Red Riding Hood, because I've already read the first chapter because she released it early on her website, so I already read the first chapter of that one. So I like her very, very much. She is dark, she is twisted, and she takes characters from your favorite books and gives it a complete twist, but
An adult,
yes.
dark twist.
But I really, really, really enjoy her books.
Yeah.
So, and Alice was the first one, and hook, line, and sinker. However, there will not be a yarn for that because, again, both of us have to do full-on 5 stars.
Yeah. I'm not sure what, I don't know. She's probably like a 4.5, 5 to me. And then the narrator is phenomenal.
Yes.
For both Alice and the Red Queen.
I'm pretty
She's
sure
the
it's
same.
Judith Sterling is the one that's doing it.
And I really did enjoy them. It's just, to me, even if I gave it 5 stars, it doesn't fit with our aesthetic.
No, it doesn't.
We're very pretty, and delicate, and
Not bloody.
This would not be. There's no way to make this yarn pretty and delicate.
One of the things I love
I mean,
about...
it's like a darker side. I mean, maybe we'll do the darker side of the Toad.
Toad Underworld.
Yeah.
Toads After Dark.
Toads After Dark.
Yeah.
The Skin and Max version.
Yeah, no, it's just, that won't happen because we don't like dark and ugly yarn. So.
Right. I mean, really good book, and I did enjoy it.
I think one of the things I like the most about it is Judith Sterling, I think, is, if she's not, she sounds like an older woman.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a grandmother telling you a story that has...
It's like Granny's Attic, you know?
Yeah. Lots and lots and lots of blood. So, it's just, it was so... You have this sweet little old lady voice telling you the story.
And I did enjoy figuring out who was who.
Yes.
Because it's not so... I mean, some of them are very obvious that they have their name. They have the same name as they do in the book. But some are not. And it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're the caterpillar.
And there was one that I was really worried about, and it turned out it wasn't him, and I was like, oh my God.
Right, okay.
So, Drew has lots of opinions today.
And
All right.
That is probably why it's 4.5 to me.
Because of Pippin?
Because of what
Oh, yeah.
Pippin.
But that didn't happen in Alice.
No, true. But it's still overshadowing.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, Pippin went through a lot.
Yeah.
So, if you have read the books, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't, I don't want to spoil it,
Right.
so we will stop talking about it. However, if you are into kind of darker books, because trigger warnings galore on this, if that is not something that bothers you at all, it's a good book. It's a really good book. I thought it was wonderfully written.
Yes.
Okay, number 2, go.
Number 2 for me, Daisy Jones and the Six.
This is the other one that I probably would have put in my top 3, except Helen took it.
By Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's again, Meredith already said it. I highly recommend doing the Audible as opposed to the read. The cast is phenomenal. It's a documentary style telling of a band from the 70s, and they hit the peak of stardom and then stopped. And it's all why did they stop. And I just think it's so well done. For a subject matter that knowing that synopsis, I would not have read the book. It would not make me pick up the book to read because it's not something that necessarily I would be interested in. But it just came so highly recommended. I've just seen it all over the place, people recommending it. And one of the podcasts we listened to that we've mentioned before, What Should I Read Next by Anne Bogle, she has suggested it on more than one occasion. So when we had the option to download it, we did.
And it was wonderful.
And it was one of those where when it was, we were listening to it and it was like, yeah, this is really good, this is really good, I really like it. And then when it was over, it was just like, it just took a wash over me, and it was like, oh my God, that was so good.
Yes.
I knew it was good, but then when it was done and you just, everything
settles and you're like, oh, that's why you're doing this.
And it was so good.
So we will be talking about that in more depth in our upcoming one. But
she also made our 5-star reads, and this is Honeycomb. Usually we name our 5-star reads after the book, but my guess is Daisy Jones will become a full collection. But Honeycomb is one of the songs, and this yarn just was perfect to call Honeycomb as opposed to Daisy Jones. So.
God, I love that color. Yeah. I really love that yarn.
And we dyed it in DK this week, so it will be hitting the shop in DK soon as well.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
And then number 1, all together now.
For both of us.
Meredith was going to pick a different one, and I'm like, no, this book just... It needs to be the number 1 for both of us.
Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia
Owens,
and we will be doing more about that. Helen just finished redyeing the yarn for it, so we can't show it because it's hasn't been twisted yet. But we will be relisting it hopefully by the time this podcast is up. Oh, it is? Okay, so that it is up on the shop. We just have to twist it and label it, but yeah, this is a book that everybody should read. And I don't want to... We gave my mom a copy yesterday, and we told her just read it. Don't read the jacket. Yeah. So I don't want to talk too much about it until we just go deep into this. Besides, as I said, this is a book that you should go into cold, knowing nothing about, and just let it happen. Right. There is a book coming out in November that Meredith and I are both anticipating. Okay, so we both said that, because I said, okay, we'll do the top 3, and what's the most anticipated book for the second half of the year, and we both have the same one. It's A Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. Knowing how we feel about the Nerd Circus. Yeah. So, but as far as I'm concerned, you all know how I feel about the Night Circus. I mean, I have the Night Circus here. All other books that I love are here.
And now I have the Night Circus and the Crawdad Sings, and everybody else is here. So the Starless Sea is going to have to be a really, really good book to surpass.
I was really kind of worried because
it took her so damn long.
But it took her, I think, 8 years. You have this amazing piece of work. There are people who don't like it, and then there are people who love it. We are of the we love it. We love her style, so that.
And this is the Night Circus again, not the Crawdad.
Yeah. So you have this piece of work, the Night Circus, and then finally she's coming out with her second one, and so Magic in a Bottle. You know, can she do it again? And I used to read her blog when she was writing on her blog, and she would do Fridays where she would take 5 sentences. Her friend would take a picture, and she would write 5 sentences about it. And every time, like, I want more. I want to know why the fairies are bathing in this pool and that kind of thing. She always has it. Somebody that we watch on BookTube, her name is Samantha, and she does Thoughts on Tomes, is the name of her BookTube account. She feels about the Night Circus just about the same way we do. She managed to get to BookCon early enough to get a signed copy of The Starless Sea, and she has read it. And she said she was worried, the same way we were, that it wasn't going to live up to the Night Circus.
She said, you get the magic of the tents and, you know, that feel again, kind of thing.
She said she has taken it and expanded it.
And gone up a level.
And anybody who is worried about reading The Starless Sea should not be worried.
Right.
So I now am so pissed off that we did not get BookCon in time to get our copy. I was fine because it was like, okay, it didn't happen, you know. It wasn't.
We'll read it in November.
We'll read it, but now I really kind of. So I've said to Helen, we're gonna have to make sure we get 2 copies because the minute it comes out, we both are going to want to read it, and
so we will get the Kindle and the actual book.
We'll get a hard copy and the download. We
may
Kindle.
Actually just pre-order them so that it is here on the day that it comes out,
November 5th.
Right.
So that don't talk to us.
Yeah.
We will be reading. Anyway, we both are very, very excited about that. And my fears are allayed, and now I'm really excited about it because somebody that I agree with most of her other reviews really raved about it.
Yeah.
And she said, this isn't even the gushing one. This is just, hey, I read it, and it's really, really good.
I read it and you didn't.
She never did that.
She did not.
She never did that. But I did want to send her a note and say, can I borrow your copy?
Hi, you don't know me,
but
send me your galley copy that you probably signed your life away promising you would not.
All right. Anyway, so top 3 books for each of us for 2019, the beginning, the first half, and we will let you know.
Be interested to see where everybody befalls by the end of the year.
Yeah. Do the top 5 for the year and see what happens. But I have to say, so far, the books we're doing this year are good.
Yeah, I've only put down 1. And I put that down 3/4 of the way through.
Right. I am listening to The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton right now and loving it. Really loving it.
I just finished Before We Were Yours. And I enjoyed that. Though I don't think I'd give it 5.
Okay.
And I am struggling through The Clockmaker's Daughter by Kate Morton.
You should just put it down and start something else.
But it's just now, it's just kind of like, it's Kate Morton. I should be enjoying this book.
But if you are saying that I should be enjoying this book, then you're reading it at the wrong time, and you should put it down and, you know, read People magazine for a couple of nights, and then pick up something that's light and easy to read and pick it up later.
Yeah.
Maybe Kate Morton is like a fall winter book.
Yeah.
Where you need it for like cold days type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
All right.
We shall see.
Okay, so we are going to go try and jumpstart the car and get the rest of our day started. And we will hopefully...
And quick shop update. The shop is full.
Okay.
Full of yarn. We're adding DK to quite a few of the colors. So... getting ready for Stitches Midwest.
Right, one quick note. Helen did put up a picture of a Peter Rabbit bag, and I have put up pictures of fabric that we are doing. We are not listing any bags until after Stitches because we're
not gonna have enough time to make enough.
right. So we are putting all our effort into making bags because that is coming up in 2 weeks. So we need to everything is going towards stitches. The yarn, we have lots of extras so that we are listing the yarn.
We put the focus on the yarn for stitches. So
heavy on yarn, lighter on bags.
Yarn. We're gonna have bags to bring with us, but we're not gonna have the inventory to be able to share online and stitches. So
if you cannot live without something,
I know you saw it. Just DM us and say, I need that bag. Sell it to me now.
Right.
And
we'll work with you.
You know, anybody who says, here's my money, generally gets what they want.
Okay.
Bag or yarn.
Words to live by. Have a wonderful week, everybody.
Go forth and knit, everybody.
Go forth and knit.
Pray for my car.
And we will see you next week with a floss tube.
And hopefully a book tube.
Yeah. All right. Bye.